Okay, welcome back to Soul Invictus again. I want to welcome you and say hi. I actually want to talk today about, excuse me, I want to talk today about sort of the neutral souls and what's sort of described as lukewarm. It's basically when Jesus was talking about the harvesters and the harvest and how some seeds are going to fall on certain areas. The ones that fall into areas where they gain some of the knowledge but then they turn away because they're not rooted in good soil, that's part of what the neutral souls are all about. So what does it mean to be a neutral soul? It just means, well, you like hearing about it. You know, you're happy to hear it. You're here and you're like, yay, it's all awesome and great. But then you turn around and do absolutely nothing. There's nothing you can do. There's a lot of people under the predisposition that Jesus was telling them that all you got to do is just believe in me and that's it. There's nothing more. If they believe that, they've only read like a couple chapters of the Bible and that's it. They haven't read enough to even understand what Jesus was really about, what he was here. There would literally be no and here's the reason that I say it logically and logistically a lot, is because if Jesus came here giving us a bunch of imagination and stuff, it had no real reality to it. All he'd have to literally go around saying is, I'm God, believe in me, and that's all you got to do, and you're saved. There would be nothing that you had to do. But the fact is, Jesus wrote multiple times about what you have to do for others, forgiving others, doing good works, believing in a higher source, loving your neighbor as yourself. And the new commandment, love others as I have loved you, So all this stuff is what Jesus is talking about. Now, if you just say, Lord, Lord, like literally it says in the Bible later, where he said, he's not going to recognize you just because you called out his name, just because you recognize his name, just because you recognize that there is a holy source of creation, just because you recognize that. Let's say you're not even Christian. You're not even, you've never known any serious spirituality of any kind. Not believing in anything good, not doing anything good is going to literally tear you apart spiritually. You're not going to be validated. Some people talk about hell. Jesus talked about condemnation. It doesn't, as much as I've read, there's not a lot written about eternal condemnation. It's just condemnation. At that time, people believed in reincarnation, which a lot of new religions will be like, nope, that's not true. But it is. A lot of the older religions would believe in reincarnation. Even Jesus says in there to either relate to people that if you can believe it, Jesus is Elijah, or he's trying to relate that that's what they were believing and that's what he's trying to help them understand. That when people believed in Elijah, that was it, their salvation's at hand. They're going to understand what God wants of them. So either Jesus was trying to relate to them that their belief in reincarnation, they were going to finally have that finished, or that reincarnation itself is going to be finished. I think condemnation could possibly mean reincarnation, or it could just mean that you're destroyed. In a lot of other parts, I don't think that, especially with the Nag Hammadi, there's a lot of parts that describe that the person, the spirit, or the soul is just consumed in a flame and is destroyed. There is no eternal whatever. It's just, that's it. And Jesus describes in a lot of the parables that they'll be cast in the flame and be burnt up. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean a forever pain of burning or whatever. What I think about it is that the people that don't care about a creation source, the people that don't care about being good to others, they literally just get deconstructed at a soul material way, and they're forever lost. They're gone. Their memories are gone. Their spirit's gone. Whatever, it's all gone. There's some parts of the Nag Hammadi that describe that the soul gets tortured for a while until it's able to grasp enough light, which is a funny enough thing that the Freemasons will say, that they've gained more light. It's almost like they're trying to get light to go up to heaven, and that they're describing that this is hell. This isn't necessarily hell. This is sort of some people would call it a prison planet. Some people would call it a living entity that we're living on top of. Uh, it's hard to describe. This is sort of like halfway in between. If I had to describe this as something, I would say this is sort of like a purgatory. This is kind of like a purgatory. But with goods and bads. So we're here to experience this, but we're here to figure out how we can ascend, how we can go up. Some people want to come back here. Some people believe in reincarnation. They can come back here and become a better person. They can become something better. You can't guarantee that. You just can't. And why would you want to come back here? I mean, if you can believe and imagine whatever, and you can become something great through your beliefs, you know what Jesus was saying, that the Jews believe that they would be like God, or whatever. Jesus was saying that we could be sons of God, sons and daughters of God, which means that we would have, immense power, or means that we have immense power. So as far as the neutral souls go, they like it because it looks pretty, but they don't do any. So it's like if you go to, I don't know how to describe this in a really great way, but if you were to go to an art show, I guess this might be okay, but if you were to go to an art show and you were to look at all the art on the wall, but you wanted to be a part of that art collection, you wanted to have your name portrayed in that gala, but you didn't do any art at all. Not that you didn't have any talent, not that you couldn't try, you just kept going back to watch it, and you always wished you could be a part of it, but you never did anything. You're not going to make it. You're not going to ever be there because you've had time to make that art, to put it in the gala, but you haven't done it. That's how it is for our souls. You think of all these holy things and you think, oh, this is beautiful. I'm going to go and worship this. I'm going to go and look at this great structure, and I've gained my immortality that way. No, you've just seen it. You haven't done anything to be a part of it. This is what Jesus wanted us to do. He wanted us to be a part of this. He wanted us to have fellowship and friendship, be a part of it, do good things for others, forgive others. All these things generate this spiritual fruit that we get. Now, the neutral souls are just looking at this like, no. I just want to look at the banner and say that I've looked at it, and I can say all the details about it, and I've got it. Sorry, but Jesus isn't going to let you in. Just because you know how it looks doesn't mean that you know how to do it. Because the thing is, we're sort of here as seeds. And for a long time, I kind of thought there's a possibility that creating us from the dirt was also possibly constructing us through some tree-like manner. It's almost like we're, in a way of speaking, we're almost part tree. I mean, our brain is sort of built in sort of a tree-like structure. It grows out like that. And our nervous system looks a lot like a tree structure. But Jesus describes us as seeds. A lot of times he describes us as seeds. So what does it mean to be put into good soil? It means to plant yourself in good soil. If you know you're not in good soil, you have to move yourself. This is where it gets really difficult. Because most people are used to a particular thing, are going to be like, well, I'm not used to that. I'm used to this, so I'm going to stay here and see how I can do it here. Well, if you keep yourself in an area that doesn't allow you to grow spiritually, like what he's saying with seeds, this is how the metaphor works. The seeds grow because they're in good soil. If you put yourself that doesn't have good soil, you can't grow. So if you put yourself in an area spiritually where you cannot grow, you cannot grow. That's all there is to it. So you have to move yourself to the good area to plant yourself in to grow. And if you have to put yourself in a place that helps give you loving and feeling attention to do so, that's where you need to move yourself to grow. And once you start to grow, you'll be able to do good, kind, loving things for other people. And so this is what a lot of neutral people don't get. They don't understand. And either they don't care, or they're just allowing themselves to be too distracted by everything else in the world that they don't take it upon themselves. So what I suggest to you, if you are a neutral soul, is find something good to do. If you cannot do this good thing, and it's because of the area you are in your life, mentally speaking, spiritually speaking, in your life, the area that you're in your life, you might have to replant yourself into good soil, into a good scenario, good situation, to help yourself kindle that love and growth that will produce the spiritual fruits that you need to go up. This is what you have to do if you're the neutral soul, if you're the seed that was thrown on the dirt, thrown on. That's the thing. That's what those seeds also mean. Some seeds are put in thorns. Some seeds were thrown on the dirt and were trampled. Some seeds were put in this area. Some seeds were put in that area. We're born into different stations of life. Some are poor. Some are rich. Some are medium. Some are put in really bad home scenarios. Some are put in really good home scenarios. This is what this all means. So you might be in a situation where you're in a home that is not at all good for you. And if you're of age and you can move out, put yourself in an area with people that can be loving and kind for you, so that you can take their reflection of light and love and reflect it onto others. And that will help you grow so that you can turn into the big tree that you want to be, the mustard seed tree, which grows very big, so that you can do that for others. Now, what's the purpose of all this? Well, we end up doing this and the whole world turns good. We've accomplished our mission. We've accomplished the mission that we've come here to do. The people that are considered, like star children or holy people or this or that. I'm not going to go and judge to say, this thing's good or this thing's bad. If you're trying to do good for others, you are a part of what Jesus is espousing that you should do in order to obtain that heavenly salvation that you're looking for. And so that's what I wanted to say to help you out. I hope this helped out. I know there's a lot to this, and sometimes it takes a lot of research. Like if you're a researcher, like you like to look things up in research like me, and I'm not a big conversationalist. This is easy for me because I'm putting on the video and then later on it goes up and then I can talk to you later. So for me personally, I'm not a big public speaker, but the way that this is formatted works great for me because I can just I don't have to, if somebody else is trying to talk to me in the middle of my thought, it's going to screw me up and then I have to restart. So I can get back to where I need to go with the statement I'm trying to say. That frustrates other people, but other people, when they interrupt me, frustrates me. So this works great for me. So if you're like a researcher like me and you're trying to do this kind of thing, you have a lot of work to do. But the good part is you enjoy it, because if you're a researcher and you like to investigate and do detective work on things, this is a very enjoyable thing to do. Because as you read through this, you're going to get a lot of understanding as to what Jesus had to say. And there's going to be parts of your life that you're going to be like, I don't need to do these things. These things aren't even important anymore. They're not, it's not a big deal. And it's not helping me. But there's things that I can do to help others, and I know what I can do, so I'm going to do those things to help others, even if they're small things. Like what Jesus said with the talents. Some people were born with more talents. Some people were born with less. Some people were born with little to nothing. But the ones that threw away their talents or buried it or hid it, were afraid of the person that gave them their talents. They had it taken away from them and they were just discarded. And it was given to the person that was that had the most and trying more, because then that person could make more. So that's another part about it. The people that don't want to do it. Now that's not necessarily the neutral souls or the lukewarm souls. That's just people that are just like, man, I don't really care. I know I could do something, and I know it's not as big as other people do, but it's also like they get kind of jealous, and or they get jealous or afraid or fearful, and all those things are just a part of the devil. They're all a part of evil. Fear is not something that you need in your life, and especially for neutral souls to know this. The people that look to do bad are going to really still focus on a lot of the negative parts of life, and it's going to be very, very difficult for them to come through. But the neutral souls have it a little bit better, because although if you are a neutral soul and you're just looking for something nice here and there, you can know that you don't have to fear, and you can believe that you don't have to fear the end. If you have just a few talents, you don't have to have as many talents as other people have. Some people have more talents than you. You might not be able to do a lot of things, but you can do one thing. You can do one thing well. See how you can use that to do good for the world, to do good for other people, to share your spiritual love with others. And that's what you can do. And if it's a small amount, just because that's all you can do, that's enough. You'll get back double what you've done. Some people will get back more because they put way more effort into it, because they have more talents to do that. There's no need to be jealous of other people in other stations of life. Just do what you can do and be happy with that, and that'll be enough. That's all there is to it. So as far as heaven is concerned, there's no need to worry about which place you're in when you go up. No need to worry. Most of the time when Jesus was saying, like, the apostles were asking him, like, who's going to be, James the Greater and, I think it was James and John. They asked him, like, who's going to be in heaven? We want to be at your right and left side. He's like, you're asking for things that you don't know what you're asking for. You'll get the station in life that you've gotten to, but doubled from where you're at. But you can't ask for things that are like they would have died horribly the way that Jesus died, as his example to show that the spirit is more important than the life. And that would have been too much for them to go through that type of torture. Jesus was trying to prevent them from having that. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. Hope you enjoyed. I went on a little longer than I thought, but I think I made a pretty good point. So that's all I've got for this week. Next week I'm going to cover something else. And I'm going to do something else with the New Testament. And I'll see you then. Have a great day. And go with God.